vengeance.
Gold!
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another Vengeance God stream. My name is Mikey Fatum, also known as Vengeance God, also known as Ambassador Kel, and I am excited to see you all today. Hello! Welcome! Sound off in the comments if you're here. Especially, I saw a bunch of people join on TikTok. I'd love to say hi to you folks over there. And hello to Fragrance. Thanks for being here. All right. Well, today we are trying a brand new game, and that game is called Viscerafest. I haven't dove into it much. Hello, Disco! But it is a sort of sponsor of the stream today. They're not giving me direct money, but I do have an affiliate link, and I think it's one of those things where if a lot of you buy the game from the affiliate link, then you will get, then it'll look better on me. So please, if the game looks interesting to you, go ahead and grab it from that link in the chat. Let's see. I'm just going to look up. All right, so this game is a sci-fi fantasy single-player arena first-person shooter. It's very heavily... nice, Trexpert. Wow, in like a day? It seems to be very heavily inspired by Doom. You take the role of Caroline, a bloodthirsty psychopathic mercenary who wants nothing more than to marry her wonderful boyfriend, Athens Fetter. The problem is, money's tight, and rings aren't exactly cheap. But thankfully there may be hope for her as a warlock named Chromune has acquired a rather hefty bounty on his head. Bringing the corpse in to the respective authorities won't be an easy task, however, as Chromune has a small army defending him. Forces from the United Scientific Conglomerate, led by Dr. Mortis, stand shoulder to shoulder with the religious zealot. But what's a few hundred soldiers to death incarnate? Nothing but a slaughter. Nay, a Viscerafest! 3 days. Okay, I feel a little better. All right, so that's what we're going to be playing. Huh. Okay. Just got a weird note on TikTok, and I don't know what all that means, but I'll have to look it up later. For now, let's play some. I'm going to turn on the music here. Once again, like we had with Gigafest. Gigafest? No, Giga Bash. We have excellent menu music. I've been jamming to this while we're getting started. So let's start a new game. Okay, so we've got narcolepsy mode. Doesn't want to suffer too much. Pretty familiar. I'm gonna... I feel like I want to start maybe on... I don't know, medium or hard. Hey, Hunter! Welcome. She looks so happy and hard. We'll see what happens.
Let's start from the top. Name's Caroline, 27 years old, arms enthusiast, full-time mercenary, and girlfriend to a wonderful man, Athens Fetter. Been hoping to propose for a while now, but unfortunately work's been a bit slow, meaning rings aren't exactly in my price range. Thankfully, some warlock twat named Chromune has acquired a rather hefty bounty on his head, and killing him was in the job description. Apparently, he's good chums with a bunch of gits who run some kind of illegal science gig called the USC, and word is he
I like the tone of this already.
toward a base they just recently cobbled together above the Earth. So the plan's simple. Break in, kill the target, collect my pay, and get home in 3 days. Just in time for date night. Now, let's get this bloodbath started.
All right. I will turn the game audio up once I have access to the settings. But she seems fun. I had turned it down quite a bit because I didn't want it to drown me out. So you guys will have to let me know when if it's too loud now.
Now, if I were a one-eyed genocidal maniac, where would I be hiding?
Oh, this brings me back. Oh, that's not a good start. Okay, so I can hold shift and press, or no, hold spacebar and press W or S to bunny hop. Nice, Disco. Bunny hopping cuts damage in half. Whee! Okay, so right click is my... That dude straight up exploded. Okay, can't go this way. Can go this way. Tap right click to throw a punch. Punching enemies drops armor. Armor cuts any damage taken in half. Does that mean if I'm bunny hopping with armor that I have 100% that I don't take damage?
Go away. You, not right there.
Hooray! Ammo! Oh, I bet you I gotta shoot this. What? There we go. Ow!
If I join you boys.
Huh, I wonder what that did. Alright, you run out of ammo really quick. I want to just take a quick check.
Knock, knock. Let me in.
I'm really wondering what this thing is. But apparently nothing. Is that a mop? Alright. We're gonna keep going. Hold right click to charge a powerful uppercut that can pierce through multiple enemies. Uppercuts make you invincible for a split second and will drain stamina, but don't require stamina to be used. Okay.
Hallelujah.
Well, that's helpful. Pink key acquired.
Damn, it's stuck.
Alright. Off to the pink door that we saw before.
Let me through.
Okay. Enemies with shields can deflect attacks when they are raised. Try to attack them when their shields are lowered. Yellow shields can deflect projectile attacks but are weak to melee. Red shields will deflect both projectile and melee attacks. Fire and explosives can pierce through enemy shields. Got it. Okay, I've got some more ammo now. Wow! Oh, man. Okay. It's got a death counter for me. Oh, that's not great.
Now, if I were a one-eyed genocide
Ooh, all the way back to the start, huh?
where would I be hiding?
Are you blind?
I see we've got a very old school checkpoint system here.
Hello? Anybody in there?
They sound a little bit like battle droids.
Ugh, it won't open.
Is there a quick save? That's a good question. There's no save button on here, so I'm going to guess there's not a quick save button, but let's find out. There is a quick save button, and it's F6. Out of save beacons. Okay, good to know. Oops, I didn't need to see this.
Mind if I join you boys?
That time we only used one shot, as opposed to, like, all of them. I really like those guys, like... Huh. Oh! Well, that was useful. What's this thing? I don't know. Let's get the armor. Good, Osric, welcome, welcome. Thanks for being here. What brings you to our humble little stream today?
Found them all.
Alright, okay. That was kind of a waste of a shot, but
Damn! It's stuck.
I gotta remember to bunny hop.
It won't open.
Dashing will make you invincible for a brief moment. Tap Shift in tandem with W, A, S, or D to dash. Dashing costs stamina. Cool. Wait. Oh no, that's a plant, not armor.
Don't make me break down this door.
Alright, we're gonna dash through the fire. Are you ready? Did I already do the tutorials? I've done, I'm doing some of them. Game's giving me tutorials as the game goes. I skipped some stuff. Oh, what did I skip? Hey, a save beacon. Okay. You know what, honestly? Good as time as any. Ow! Who did that? Oh, hey, bud. And I used all my ammo. Oh, the shielded enemies tutorial? Yeah, I died after doing that the first time. So I had to go back to the start, so I'm replaying a little bit.
Ugh, it won't open. It's breakfast time. I'm feeling waffles with a side of blood.
Out of bunny hop. Waste ammo by shooting a scientist. Thanks for that. Alright.
This is Krunian. We've lost contact with the other facilities, and our scout drones have not yet returned.
Tony, this is Matisse. The squad and I will be coming to aid you within the hour. Once we have arrived, we will meet.
Knock, knock. Let me in.
What? How did... No matter. Security. Find and dispose of her immediately.
Alright. Now that I've found a few secrets, mostly accidentally, I'm gonna be checking every corner here. So 20 cells is 2 shots, turns out. Giving enemies or their corpses drops hearts, which Caroline can eat to destroy lost health. Got it. So punching really is the preferred way of doing things around these parts, because it gives us both health and armor.
It won't open.
So the pistol shares ammo with another gun that uses less ammo. That explains it. Osric, are you a dev or just one of the fans? Ooh, yellow key, yay. I know where I use that.
Got him.
Ow. Ah, damn. You're the lead dev. Oh, hey, welcome, welcome. Good to have you here. I am having fun so far. Ooh. Alright. This time, we're not going to fall through the floor right away. Okay, yes we are. Should there be tariffs on ammo?
Feeling waffles with a side of blood. Hell yeah!
Punchy time! Where are you? Come here so I can punch you some more. Yeah, congrats on the launch, Osric. That's great.
Dr. Ortiz, this is Krunian. We've lost contact with the other facilities, and our scout drones have not yet returned.
Homie, this is Matisse. The squad and I will be coming to aid you within the hour. Once we have arrived, we will meet.
Alright, I heard this last time. Yeah, I'm glad I got the chance to to play this. It's pretty fun.
No matter. Security, find and dispose of her immediately.
Thank you. Sir, we can't hit her. She's jumping too much. Well, Osric, I do interviews with developers on this channel all the time. So whether you're up for one right now or whether you want to do one later about this game, let me know. I'd be happy to do it. It's always fun to learn the thought process and development that goes into a game. How big is your team? I noticed on Steam that this is kind of a co-development game with two different gaming companies, which is interesting. All right, I went backwards last time, and then I immediately died. Hold spacebar to ascend ladders. Hold control to descend ladders. Yeah, do you want to hop on right now, Osric? I'll be happy to stop for a second and bring you in. Great opportunity to make awkward jokes. Thanks, Nihilus. All right, I'm going to keep going and wait for an answer. Wait, hold on. This panel looks suspicious. Okay. Oh, neat. That's really cool, Osric. I love that we live in an era now where people can make like full games like this with relatively small dev teams. It's really cool. Let me see. I'll get Stream Together started up and send you an invite. It's really cool. Let's see. Stream Together. Start streaming together. Invite guests. All right, I am sending you an invite. It should appear in your notifications on Twitch. Let me know if you see it. Dip, 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 dip. I can still hear the music very faintly in the background. Doop, 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 doop. Okay, let me, while we're waiting, we will turn on guest camera. Make sure it's set up for Dream Together. Ah, it doesn't like your browser. You do have a Discord? Okay, cool. I don't know, Nihilus. Why did the Oberth cross the road? Osric, is your Discord the same as your Twitch name? You can also whisper me on Twitch your Discord name if you're not up for sharing it. I totally understand. Okay, great. I'm gonna send you a friend request right now. Hey, Constance. How you doing? All right, let us get a... I'm going to send a video call. You don't have to turn on a camera if you don't want to, since this was very impromptu.
Hello.
Hello! How are you?
Yeah, no, I have a camera. One moment.
Sounds good.
There we go.
Okay, cool. Let me get you set up in here.
Yeah. Oh, failed to start camera. What the heck?
I can see you, even though it says failed to
can-
start camera.
Oh, okay. Oh dear. Howdy.
hold
How's it going?
Good. How's it going with you?
I'm very tired.
I can imagine. Launch day is
Yeah.
always stressful. How'd it go yesterday?
I think it went okay. I mean, we had bugs and stuff we're dealing with.
Yeah.
A couple of really annoying ones, but I don't think most of them are pretty minor and overcomable for the most part. I'm hoping we'll get a patch out within the next few days. But yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, it's always hard when it's oh, you know what? I think I minimized Discord. I think that's the problem. There we go.
Uh-oh.
Let's see. There we go. There we go. Okay, let me get you all set up here. Normally, we're super professional about this. I'm lying. I'm never professional about anything.
Oh my goodness, that's the whitest Discord I've ever seen.
Yeah, I know. Everybody makes fun of me for not using dark mode, but I like light mode like a weirdo.
It's like getting flashbanged.
All
Like
right.
whenever I use Notepad to take notes.
Oh man. All right. Well, hey, welcome to the stream. So obviously I didn't plan for this. So why don't you start by introducing yourself? What's your name?
Yeah, so my name is Noah James Dickinson. I'm a Midwestern boy in America. And yeah, I've been working on Viscerafest since I was 12 years old.
You look like, and I might be totally wrong here, you look like you're a bit younger than me, so I'm going to have to ask how you even found out about things like Doom and this style of gameplay in the first place.
Yeah, one second.
Yeah.
I'm a little computer. I'm gonna turn down your volume on my end a little bit.
Okay.
It's loud enough. I'm worried it might be actually the mic might be picking up.
Yeah.
But even still, I want to get it a little bit quieter. Let's
Yeah,
see.
I'm gonna turn down the game sound a little bit too. Oops, all right, skip that.
Why doth Discord not? I would think the setting for this would be fairly.
So if you
obvious.
right click on my face, there's a
Okay.
or my lack of face, there's a thing that says oh, you disappeared. Oh no, there you are.
Oh,
You're there. You're there still. Okay. But yeah, if you right click on my face, there's a there should be a slidey bar. It says like user volume.
yeah, there we go. All right, I got it. I'm trying to think. So when I was 12 years old, I had gone over to a friend of mine's house, and he had a game by the name of Battlefield 1942.
Okay.
And that was my first exposure to first-person shooters in general. And in the wake of playing that, I became relatively obsessed with first-person shooters. And I kind of became invested in fishing around for anything I could get to play, because my parents certainly weren't going to buy me any first-person shooters. And I didn't have any money because I was 12.
Yep.
And so what ended up happening was I would look online for like free games and whatnot that you can play. And Doom had a free shareware episode online.
Oh yeah.
As a matter of fact, somebody uploaded the shareware along with the shareware for Heretic and Hexen onto Newgrounds. And in the wake of that, I found Doom, and I don't think I loved it at the time, because the Newgrounds version of Doom was basically you had to do it keyboard only.
Oh
So
yeah.
you had to use like the arrow keys to move. It was control to shoot, spacebar to open doors.
Yep, that was how we all started. There was never mouse looking Doom originally. I remember.
There was, but it was tucked away in the options.
Oh, okay.
You had to access it via the DOS boot screen.
Oh, okay.
But certainly
Shows you
was
how
not
much I
the
know.
default. But through there, I kind of became exposed to the retro shooter sphere, and oh goodness, what was it? I want to say around 2013, 2014, I bumped into the games Marathon and Blood.
Okay.
Uh,
Marathon, which just
and-
announced its remake yesterday or earlier this week.
Remake.
Yeah, remake. Not really.
um, but yeah, so I bumped into the games Marathon and Blood, and both of those games really kind of spurred me on creatively because, as I said, I was becoming a hardcore first-person shooter fan, and the Halo franchise was another series of games that I was really big into. And actually, before we even get there, we got to back up a little bit.
Yeah.
So growing up, I really wanted to get into animation. And so I asked my dad if he could potentially find me pieces of software which would facilitate me effectively making working in animation.
Yeah.
So 2008, he found me a piece of software. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but I was 8 years old, and the only documentation on how to use this piece of software was like, basically like its manual.
Yeah.
Which,
what was the
with
software? I'm curious.
Oh goodness. I would have to do some digging. to
Oh,
see
okay.
what
No
it's
worries.
called. I remember that its logo was that it had a purple butterfly. I'll look that up while I'm talking.
I bet you somebody in my chat knows that. I have a lot of old gamers in here.
Yeah. But so I found that, needless to say, I wasn't really able to learn very much about how to use it. And as such, didn't make a whole lot of progress with that. Regardless though, my dad remembered that I was interested in working in animation, and eventually one day, I think a coworker told him about an application called Blender.
Ah.
So he ended up saying, "Hey Noah, I remember you were interested in this," and he showed me this. He was like, "There's tons of online tutorials on how to use it. You know, you should pick it up and give it a look." And I did, and very quickly I was on working with Blender and trying to figure out how to use it. I want to say 2 or 3 months into learning how to use Blender. And by the way, this was 2012 that I started using Blender.
So that's early Blender, isn't it?
Oh yeah. So 2012, starting to learn how to use Blender, find out that it has a game engine. And I was like, you mean, I'm 12, so I'm like, you mean I can make video games with this thing? Now, the Blender game engine sucked. It was absolutely terrible. But at the time, I didn't know that. And so I basically jumped in straight away trying to learn how to use it and trying to figure out how to make games effectively. And over the course, and so one of the earliest projects that I had in mind, kind of in the wake of me becoming a fan of first-person shooters, was a game that at the time was just basically, it had a temp name of Blender Sci-Fi FPS.
Okay.
And eventually...
And then eventually
game...
Blender Sci-Fi FPS final _2 final.
Yeah. Eventually it went under the name Quarantined and the Worlds of War, if I remember correctly. That version of the game, that game would eventually become Viscerafest. It started out as something of a Halo clone. And I'm trying to think. So initially it was a Halo clone. Eventually I decided, as I started getting more and more interested in retro shooters specifically, it started shifting over into becoming more of a retro shooter itself. So Poor Blender, I see in the comments.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I still use Blender for a lot of my work. So we started working. So I started working on the game in 2012. A lot of that early initial process was mostly me learning how to use the tools, how to do anything with Blender, and kind of learning the boundaries of what Blender was capable of as far as its game engine was concerned. And as such, there were probably like 5 to 6 different versions of the game that took shape during this period from like 2012 to 2015. Initial versions of it were very much, like I said, a Halo clone. There were some versions that are more horror oriented. There were some that were more straight action oriented. And then in 2015, I did, and during this whole period, what would happen is I would make a certain amount of progress. I would stop, and then I would kind of reevaluate where I was at, and I was like, a lot of the work I did, I can do better now, so I'm going to just restart the whole project and maybe shift direction a little bit, and we'll go from there. 2015 comes. By this time, I was really big into Doom. I loved Doom by this point. I was becoming a very big fan of Blood, the build engine game. I was becoming a really big fan of Marathon, as I said. And I decided that I would take my Blender Sci-Fi FPS project and I would turn it into a more retro shooter type of game. I worked on that version of the game. So there were actually 3 versions of the retro shooter attempt, shall we say.
Okay.
There was the initial version, which I want to say lasted about 6 months in development. There was another version that was fully 3D, because I had shifted from... The initial version was 2D sprite-based.
Okay.
The second version was 3D-based. And in experimenting with 3D in the Blender game engine, what I very quickly learned was the Blender game engine was so janky that it was a really bad idea for me to try to make a game that relied on having 3D models for enemies and stuff like that, because it just created a lot of problems.
Yeah, like what kind of problems?
Oh my goodness, I'm trying to even remember. I mean, that's like, we're talking like, this is like late 2015, so this would have been 10 years.
10 years
This
ago.
is 10 years ago.
Excuse me while I slowly crumble into dust, but continue.
Yeah. So some of the technical issues. I remember there were issues with the enemy AI because of some of how Blender handled its navigation mesh AI stuff. There were limitations with the navigational meshes that created some problems with how enemies navigated spaces. And them being fully 3D really heightened those problems in a way that wasn't an issue in the 2D sprite versions of the levels.
Okay.
And so there were lots of issues like that, where it was like, I remember I actually have some really old footage of the 3D version available on my YouTube channel. It might
nice.
be hidden, but I could actually send it to you if you wanted me to.
Sure, yeah, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, but so those. Let me grab that quick.
I should have used the save beacon I just unlocked.
So those. What was I talking about? So in those videos, I remember I was showing off the game a bit, and I had to do a lot of work to hide some of the problems that I was working on addressing behind the scenes. And eventually I just reached this point where I was like, I should go back to doing 2D sprites because this isn't working.
Yeah.
So I went back to doing 2D sprites for a bit, and that version of the project, the third version of the retro shooter attempt, that went from 2016 to 2018. I had the first 2 chapters. That was the furthest I ever got in working on the game. The first chapter was actually out publicly. It was a playable demo. And I had chapter 2 finished. And what happened was I sent a version of the game's second chapter over to a friend to playtest, and not only could he not open that new version of the game,
Yeah.
but it actually broke the older version of the game, so he couldn't play that either. And
Whoa.
after spending several days attempting to diagnose what was going on, I just reached this really depressed point where I was like, I can't release this thing.
It's over.
Like there's nothing I can do. Like I can't fix this. And I had a friend of mine by the name of Elijah Allen, who's currently my lead programmer. He worked with the Unity game engine, and he had been really poking me, trying to get me to port the game over to Unity. And we had actually tag teamed on working on another project together by the name of Nexum, which was a multiplayer arena shooter that never went anywhere.
Oh, I miss
yeah.
multiplayer arena shooters.
Yeah, but so we were working on that. He really wanted to work with me on Viscerafest, or just on any project in general, because he really liked a lot of what I was doing. And after I had that big blow up with the game, I was like, hey, so how long do you think it would take to get the bare minimum of just like the game functional in Unity? Like, how long would it take to get like just the basic mechanics functioning in Unity? And he said, oh, it'll probably take like a month. And I was like, well, great.
3 years
Guess
later.
what we're doing? Guess what we're doing? Oh, no, that's not 3 years later. That was almost 6-7 years ago now. So yeah. I just found. So this is the version of the 3D project. I will send it to you right now.
Okay, yeah, I'll throw it up so we can see it.
Yeah. So this is the. Let me find you. There you are. All right. So this is the. Oh, you didn't like that, I guess. Hold on.
Oh, I got it. It's okay. I can just copy paste the link.
I'm not sure if the link is functioning though.
Yep.
Okay.
It is
there we go.
functioning and
Anyways.
loud. Let me get this up on screen so
All
people
right.
can see it.
Yeah. But yeah, so we were working on. So we started working on that Unity port in 2018, and around this time, the project started. I was very quickly beginning to learn how much more Unity was actually capable of doing. And in light of that fact, I just noticed the switch you're looking at is no clipping into the floor, and that really bothers me.
I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna have to fix that.
I'm just gonna turn my character slightly. Whoop!
I'm gonna have to. It's just something I have to fix. I didn't notice that before. I'm glad I noticed that.
Well, that's what we also. So I used to be the community manager for Star Trek Online before I started streaming, and a lot of what we would always joke about is like, you know, we would test things and test things and test things, and then 10 seconds into launching the game, the players find 14 things that you never saw.
Yeah. Yeah, what I always say is that, 500 people are going to find way more problems than 50 can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but so we I'm trying to think, my brain's dying. So we started working on that version of the game in 2018. Things were a lot of it was very slow, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
The initial process of working on the game was very slow, primarily because this was 2018. I would have been 18. I was working a full-time job at this point in time.
Yep.
My lead programmer was working a full-time job at this point in time, and as a consequence of this, availability to work on the game was all over the place.
Finding time in your schedule for your own personal projects is always so freaking hard.
Mm-hmm. But eventually, I want to say around 2020, we had a demo ready. And so we publicly put out a demo of the game's first 5 levels. So this would be the tutorial level, and then the first 4 levels of Chapter 1. Once we did that, the game kind of blew up. It became really, really popular. I believe G-Man Lives, who's a big guy on the retro indie FPS scene. He covered it. Civi11 covered it. There are a couple of other YouTubers and whatnot who are talking about the game, and we kind of blew up overnight. We were kind of one of the big names in the FPS scene, especially in the indie scene.
That's cool.
Like we were, I would say there was a point I remember where we were basically comparable to, like, me and Hakata, the lead dev of Ultra Kill, were basically rubbing shoulders with one another. And then in 2020, we attended an event called Realms Deep. A publisher by the name of 1C Entertainment approached us, and they said, "Hey, we want to publish your game." Ended up coming to find out after the fact that it kind of sounds like 3D Realms and Fulcrum were fighting over us.
Oh,
Or who would get to publish us?
That's nice. That's always good to hear.
Which makes me a little mad in retrospect for reasons. But anyways,
I can't imagine why.
So-
No connection to this genre at all. 3D Realms.
yeah. So, but regardless, we ended up we ended up signing on to work with Fulcrum. In 2021, we went into early access, and in 2022. We released the game's second chapter, and then now in 2025, we finally released the full game, quote unquote.
Until you add more, yeah.
Well, it's so okay. So for starters, I skimmed over a lot.
Yeah. No, you were
somewhat-
telling me 10 years worth of stuff in 10 minutes. I understand.
Yeah. But like the last 4 years of development has just been nothing but unadulterated chaos. Cause so I'm trying to think how much there's like stuff I can't say for legal reasons.
Yeah. Don't get yourself in trouble, please.
Yeah. There's also just so to give you like a rough breakdown, we've had a lot of problems with our publisher. We've had a lot of issues in terms of just general life circumstances. During Viscerafest development, I got engaged, and the woman who I was engaged to broke up with me.
Oh!
I'm trying to think. We had a couple of weeks where Unity had changed the entirety of how it was handling its team sharing.
Oh,
side
yeah.
of
I
the
remember
equation.
that whole controversy happening.
Yeah, they had their own like proprietary software or whatever they were using initially that we used, and then they switched over to something called Plastic SCM, which we had never used before and had no idea how to use. So we were kind of awkwardly struggling to shift over. There was like at least like somewhere between a week and 3 weeks where my computer was completely out of commission because I think my motherboard died.
Oh my god.
There was during development. So our publisher allocated a budget to us to work on the game, but we kept running into delays for various reasons, and this meant that I was having to pay my lead programmer Elijah out of my own pocket, well in advance of when I was getting his actual payments from our publisher in order to keep him working on the game.
Yeah,
Right?
that's
But what this
not
meant
good.
So what this meant is that he got his portion of the game's budget long before the game was actually done. We told our publisher this well in advance of this actually happening, that if they don't financially provide for us in any way, shape, or form, we're not even going to remotely be able to attempt to stick to a schedule of any kind. And they didn't do anything about it. And so I want to say 2022. No, like mid 2022, Elijah, my lead programmer, he ended up having to get a full-time job elsewhere, and that meant any kind of schedule went right out the window.
Yeah, then it's just
and
you
to
can
give
do
you
it.
an
You can only do it whenever he's available.
And to give you an idea of how bad that was, there was a 5-month-long season where he got nothing done on the game.
Oh my god! And
So,
the game is your
yeah.
full-time job at that point.
Yes,
Oh.
it has been my full-time job up until the like summer last year.
Wow.
when I was forced to get a full-time job, or not, I got a part-time job. So yeah, chaos left and right. And there's more stuff that happened than that, of course. Like my grandmother died mid-development, so
Oh
me and
my
my
God.
family. Me and my grandma lives in Alabama, and we kind of knew that she was on her deathbed. So basically, what ended up happening was we heard about her health condition in advance. Me and my dad basically we packed up overnight, went straight to Alabama to be with her. We spent like a week or two there, just trying to sort out like what are we gonna do with her home? What are we gonna what are we gonna do as far as all this goes? And then coming back, so that impacted us getting anything done. Yeah, I mean, it was chaos left and right. Like it felt like as soon as we would start to get on a roll, something would happen. It just to mess with us. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean the problem with game development is it's a full-time job that like nobody wants to pay for. So yeah. Okay. But you got it done, and you got Viscerafest out yesterday. I asked a little earlier how the launch went, but you want to go to what all went down yesterday? Did it all work out the way you were hoping?
For the most part, I just sat around watching people stream the game yesterday.
Nice.
Because I mean, I'll be honest, like I have been blasted this week.
Yeah.
I've had no energy. So today I finally started getting work done again. What ended up yesterday went okay for the most part. There are some technical issues. The game had been in early access in 2021, as I said, and the last update we released for the game would have been like early 2023, I want to say. So the game hasn't been updated in over 2 years, and with that, we especially because of the extra time I had because Elijah was super unavailable during development.
Yeah.
I basically went through the entirety of everything we had done up until that point and like heavily reworked the entire game.
Oh wow.
Like the entirety of Chapter 1 has been completely remade from the ground up, basically.
That's
like,
amazing.
If
So what we're playing right now is brand new, basically, like not been seen before, even in early access. That's cool.
Yeah. So, like, people who played the early access version, they'll still recognize a lot of the levels, a lot of the enemy types, and all that stuff. But, like, so for example, in Chapter 1, everything has been visually updated. Everything in the game has received substantial visual updates. And this includes the levels as well. All the levels in Chapter 1 have been completely remade. They have, like, I think a good way to say it would be, it's kind of like when you see someone like remake E1M1 in Doom or something like that.
Oh yeah, okay.
Where it's like you can kind of recognize, it's like, oh, this is that level.
The geometry is still kind of the same, but like everything else is different.
Yeah, like visually, there's just a massive update in terms of what's going on with everything. And the moment-to-moment gameplay has shifted around and changed a lot. A lot of stuff has been refined and tweaked.
Thanks, Nihilus. Did you see Nihilus's comment in chat? He wants you to know how proud he is. He wants you to know how proud of you he is for getting it done through all that.
Well, thank you. But yeah, so we ended up. So this is the first time basically anybody has seen the game in 2 years for the most part. Like, so this is basically, or not seen. This is the first time many people have gotten to play the game in over 2 years, and it's a completely different experience now. So a lot of it's. I mean, there's a lot of people commenting on some of the changes and updates we've made and tweaked and stuff like that.
Gamers
so
commenting on stuff?
like,
crazy talk. Never heard of it.
Yeah. So there was some anxiety with all those changes and updates. There's a lot of new content, obviously. So, for example, one of the big things that we were hinting at that we would add in our early access version, but is finally here in the full release, is there's a hub space in Viscerafest.
I saw that as we were going through. That was really cool.
So That was in the early access version as well. But what was not in the early access version is there is the library, the bestiary, and the shop. Excuse me. The library is basically just as you progress through the game, you'll unlock lore about the game's story and world. The bestiary is kind of similar, but it's specifically for enemy types. So as you bump into a new enemy type in the campaign, you'll see brand new enemies popping up. You can kind of read a bit about like their role and place in the universe.
And you get a little statue in there, yeah?
Yeah, you get little statues in there.
Nice.
And then in the shop, you can buy, using the scullies that you collect in the levels, you can buy cheat codes, gameplay modifiers, just tons of stuff that you can use when replaying through the experience. Kind of the idea we had was something like if you've ever bought like extras in a Lego game.
Oh yeah.
Or like if you unlocked big head mode in like a GameCube game.
NBA Jam, baby.
Yeah. So that's the kind of stuff we've added in addition to obviously the game's final chapter and ending and in addition there's just a ton of new stuff even in the early game. So for example, there are some new enemy types we've introduced in chapters 1 and 2. We've completely changed the pacing of when and how things are introduced. There's a new boss fight in chapter 1 that was not in the early access version. There's there's a ton of new stuff, and a lot of it's been seeing people react to that stuff. And in addition, Viscerafest is fairly infamous for being extremely difficult.
I've noticed.
And people are being reminded of that fact now. So we're seeing reactions to that fact as well. So a lot of it has been, as far as how launch has gone, there are a couple of major bugs that have cropped up. Some minor bugs as well. Some of the more annoying minor issues we've faced are the one-liners that Carolyn says aren't actually working properly right now.
Oh no!
So there's lines of dialogue Carolyn will say when you find all of the collectibles in a level. And for some reason that's playing during when she's supposed to be playing combat one-liners right now. So you'll see. So while you're killing enemies, you'll occasionally just hear her say, "Found them all," and that's not supposed to be happening. I don't know why. I think it's fixed now. I think Elijah fixed it, but that line was not supposed to play there.
They get minds of their own sometimes. In Champions, we had a bug where NPC teddy bear that's literally supposed to be a teddy bear just leaning against a wall would get up and start walking around.
Oh dear. There's if you stand still for a long period of time, Carolyn is supposed to start singing. She'll just kind of have like little idle songs she'll sing. And there's some fun songs she references. There's a song called Skeet Shooting from the movie Top Secret. I don't know if you know that.
We were just talking about that exact song in my D&D game last night.
She sings that song. There's a couple of there's some totally original stuff as well as like old Frank Sinatra songs she sings and stuff like that. Those just don't work now for some reason. I think that has also been fixed. But so stuff like that stuff's fairly minor, but it's just kind of annoying because
especially when you put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, well, that and a lot of people really like the main protagonist. A lot of people really enjoy kind of some of the charming stuff we've done with her. Yeah. So when stuff like that gets messed up, it's kind of annoying. But then in addition to that, we've had some more significant issues. Like some people are having a lot of issues with rebinding their keys. Where for whatever reason, like their keybinds reset every time they die. Some people are having issues where if you die, there's a little help button on the death screen that like takes you to what's supposed to be a help menu that shows you the tutorials again. And if you click on it, you're stuck. You can't do anything. It soft locks the game basically.
Oh no.
So there's some bigger issues like that. You got.
I got into the level. I touched the door. It exploded.
Yeah, so the wall next to you exploded, and you must have not had a whole lot of health.
I guess so.
Yeah. But yes. So some minor and major issues we're dealing with right now. One thing I did find the other day, I was playtesting the game about 2 days in advance of our release, and what I ended up finding was I was playtesting. So I playtest everything on the hardest difficulty. The game is effectively balanced for you to play it on the hardest difficulty. Now, 90% of people are not going to be able to do that.
Yep.
But that is effectively the idea is I'm like, okay, well, if everything is balanced and nice on the hardest difficulty, then all I have to do is scale things back and things should be fairly okay on the easier difficulties is effectively my idea. Basically if something is fair on when it's this level of difficulty, it should be fair if I lower it, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so but because of that, there's also an issue when I'm balancing of the easier difficulties are so easy to me that I actually can't gauge how hard they are.
Oh, you needed to bring me in earlier.
Yeah. So because of that, one issue we faced was basically it's like when I play on medium, I can't really tell how much easier it is than it is in comparison to hard difficulty. Because we have 6 difficulty settings. The easiest is narcolepsy mode.
Yeah. I decided not to go
medium.
that low today. I went up as high as the hard one, the one that it was said it was ultraviolet. When you in the warning it gives you.
Yeah, so there's medium, hard, brutal, extreme, and nightmare are the regular difficulty settings. So I didn't playtest. So I usually would playtest like the bottom end extremes just to see what they felt like. But I couldn't really do a whole lot of like fine tuning across all the difficulties without feedback from a lot of our testers. So because of that, I had never played on the game's extreme difficulty, which is the difficulty below nightmare, and none of our testers played on it because it was too hard for them. So I recently, 2 days ago, I decided to do a full playthrough of the game on the extreme difficulty setting, and what I found is that it wasn't actually all that much easier than the hardest difficulty. It was pretty similar, save for some minor places here and there. And so part of what we'll be doing, or what I've already done and will be coming in the next patch, is I have basically nerfed every difficulty below Nightmare.
Okay.
So basically, there are 5 things. There are more things than 5 things, but like the 5 major things that change between difficulty settings are there are different enemy placements on different difficulty settings. Enemies are slower, they're less aggressive, and they do less damage, and their projectiles are slower on the easier difficulty settings. And then we kind of fine-tune those between each setting using some math and whatnot. So, for example, if an enemy does like 80 damage on Nightmare, it might do 70 damage on extreme difficulty, and then 60 damage on brutal difficulty, 50 on hard, etc., etc. And we'll just kind of basically we'll use values to multiply kind of the whole numbers to tweak some of that stuff. But yeah, so I found that extreme wasn't that much different. So what we've done is we've basically taken the damage values and we've kind of boosted them up a difficulty. So basically, extreme is using the same damage values now as brutal used to have in the build you're playing. Brutal has the same damage values as hard used to have. Hard has the same damage values as medium used to have. Medium has the same values as narcolepsy mode used to have, and now narcolepsy mode's damage values have been nerfed even more than they were originally. And part of that's, and I'm kind of okay with doing that because one. A lot of people think Viscerafest is pretty hard, so I don't think anybody's going to complain if we make it a little bit easier.
Well, especially if the hardest mode is still just as hard for all the fanatics.
Yeah, so the hard mode really hasn't been tweaked that much. It's just to give it's just to make sure that like when you jump from extreme difficulty to nightmare difficulty, there's actually a noticeable change.
Yeah.
That it's not like like it's basically just maybe slightly harder in a few areas, and that's it. So yeah, but beyond that, I think it's going mostly okay. The biggest issues we're facing, and one of the reasons why I said full release in quotes earlier, is because there's a lot of stuff we wanted to get done before the full release that we were not able to get done. So the basic gist is that April 14th was sort of our ultimatum date with our publisher, where they were like, hey, like the game needs to come out by this point. Like, and whether or not it's done, it's coming out, basically.
Okay. That's terrifying to hear.
Oh, yeah. At the time when they initially said it, it wasn't terrifying, because I thought we were actually going to be able to get everything done by February, and then life happened. But basically, currently Chapter 3 is missing its soundtrack. So the game's final chapter, it doesn't have any music save for a couple of key story moments. And the music there is even placeholder now. So something came up with our composer like a month before release, and he was not able to complete the soundtrack in time for the game's launch.
God, which is a banger soundtrack, by the way. I was just sitting here listening to the menu music before the stream, and it was incredible.
Yeah, thank you. So like a month before release, something came up. He doesn't know when he's going to be able to work on the game's music again. If I had to guess, because he hasn't given me too many details, I'm assuming something came up with his family. And so for the time being, he's not able to work on the game. So we weren't able to get the soundtrack done on time. There are a couple of things from the early access version that have carried over to the full release that needed to get updated that we couldn't. So for example, when you beat a chapter, you unlock something called a sub-hub, which is basically the level select for that chapter.
Got it.
And currently, those have not been updated. They're still using their early access versions. So visually, they're very much not in the same place that the rest of the game is.
Got it.
So, and I don't think most people will even notice that.
But you will.
It bothers
and it will
me.
drive you crazy. Yep.
Yeah. There are some minor last-minute issues that came up before release. So I actually have a list of the vast majority.
Well,
of the
before you
problems
read out all of that out, what's it been like? You spent over 10 years developing this game, and 1.0 is finally out. It's in the public hands. You've been talking to you talked about you were sitting around watching streams of the game yesterday. What did all of that feel like to finally see it out in the world?
Another day in paradise.
That good, huh?
I'll be honest. I think the biggest issue we're facing right now is, I mentioned way back when we did the demo, we kind of blew up in popularity, and we were really big in the indie shooter scene. That has changed. We are, for starters, since we started doing this, retro shooters have become fairly popular.
Yeah.
And there are a lot more retro shooters now than there were when we started working on this game. And whilst for me personally, I haven't been particularly fatigued by the amount of releases, there are a lot of people who have been fatigued by the amount of releases. And so there are a lot of people who just aren't that interested in a retro shooter anymore. In addition to that, because Viscerafest spent 4 years in early access, and it was sort of 5 years dwelling within the context of the public consciousness, a lot of the interest and hype around it has really died down. Yeah. And because of that, we're basically, as the years have gone on, we have been bleeding people, where people just have it was chaos initially when we released the demo. There were so many people who were talking about and interested in the game, and now come the game's release, our server is basically dead. There's like 1 or 2 regulars who show up there on a frequent basis, and otherwise it's pretty quiet most of the time. And because of that, it really hasn't felt like a momentous occasion.
It feels like
because now that
it feels like it's a thank God it's over rather than it's a like hallelujah it's done.
I mean, it's not even over for me because we still have lots
Right.
of plans as far as what we're doing with the game, but there's very much this general consensus or feeling that, obviously people are getting to play the game now, and that's cool. But there's not nearly the excitement or the volume of people who are interested in it now as there were when we initially had the demo and the early access releases. And so, it's just sort of been, I don't want to say depressing. It's not really been depressing. It's just kind of been, it feels like business as usual to a certain extent. Obviously I have the stress of now there's a bunch of bugs I have to fix.
Yeah.
But fact of the matter is, I'm still working on the game, so that's not changed. I still have lots of things we need to do, and a couple of really big tasks we have set before us before the game is done in any serious capacity, and we can move on, whatever that means.
Right. Yeah, you got to support the game for a while before it's, after it's out.
Yeah. And so because of that, again, it really does. Other than the fact that some people are playing the game again, and they're playing a version of the game that doesn't make me cringe, because that old version of the game, I've been seeing people play it every once in a while, like somebody will be like, oh, I'm gonna stream Viscerafest, and they'll mention it on Twitter. I'll show up to their stream, and every time I saw the older version of the game, I'm like, man, this is painful to watch. But other than that, again, it doesn't really feel like too much has changed. My schedule's clearing up a little bit in life because I'm not going to be under the same kind of time pressure. So that'll be nice. There's a lot of stuff I've wanted to be able to do in life that I've kind of just had to say no to for the time being because we were so pressured by our publisher to get everything done.
Yeah.
In a certain time frame that I didn't feel obliged to get comfy and start committing to some real life stuff I wanted to. Things like I'd love to be able to serve at my church more. I haven't been able to do that. I have close friends of mine who I'd like to be able to assist them, whether it be helping them out with their house or there's a lot of stuff I'd like to do in terms of my social life and spiritual life that I really haven't been able to commit to because I've been stuck working on this game for half of my lifetime at this point. and my publisher, and one, I don't want to release a crappy game.
Yeah.
And two, I've got a publisher breathing down my neck.
Yeah.
Also, this is Teddy Bear. Hi,
Teddy Bear.
Yeah, he's one of my two kitties.
Oh.
He's a very big love.
Yeah, I've got a tabby cat like that. That's a very big let me come and cuddle you, but only in the last couple of years.
But yeah, so in that sense, stuff is in the midst of changing, shall we say?
Right.
But for the most part, it's like, it is what it is.
Is it I don't know if you're allowed to talk about this, but what do you feel like is next in your life now? Like, do you want to make another video game? Do you want to take a break from games for a while and try to do something else? And also, actually, I'm really curious. I was thinking about this earlier, and I hadn't asked this yet. You mentioned being a religious guy and wanting to work more at your church, but I'm also in the process of playing your game where I splattered blood all over the screen every 2 seconds. What's that balancing act like for you?
Yeah, I would say when I started on Viscerafest, I was 12 years old. I was not at a point in my life where I was taking my faith very seriously when I was younger. For context, I'm a Protestant Christian. Yeah,
it's kind of the most common option.
Yeah, I've been looking into Eastern Orthodoxy a little bit.
Wow.
And I really like it. There's some theological stuff that kind of rubs me the wrong way that I don't know if I can personally get over, and I'm not entirely certain how I'm not entirely sure how I feel about some of their historical claims. But overall, I have a great respect for Eastern Orthodoxy.
Okay.
But as far as Greek Orthodox would fall under the umbrella of Eastern Orthodoxy. But as far as my faith in the game itself goes, I'm trying to think how I would parse this. So early on, like I said, I wasn't really even thinking about that kind of thing. It was just like,
yeah,
I
when
go
you're
to
12,
church
that
and
the
I'm
church
working
is
on-
something that your parents make you do. You don't really think about it any further than that.
Yeah. And so, in the context of the game now, though, there are definitely some creative decisions I made in the past that I don't know that I would make now. But there are creative decisions that I feel I'm kind of stuck with. And so, what I've kind of been doing more so is just trying to, I guess you could say, redeem aspects of the game where I'm at now. So, for example, early versions of Viscerafest story kind of pitted Carolyn as something of an anti-hero type character in old drafts of what the narrative was.
How so?
And she was not that. So I'll put it to you this way. The game sort of... Carolyn is obviously, to a certain extent, not exactly a morally virtuous character.
No.
I mean, she's running around eating people. But in the midst of that, the game very much was portraying her as a hero. Like, everything she did was generally portrayed in something of a positive context.
Got it.
And it gave the overall impression that the game wanted you to think that she was the hero in some sense. And the problem was, and so like, but I guess maybe a good way to put it would be, an anti-hero type character would be someone like Deadpool, for example, right? Deadpool is unabashedly a pretty evil character. With that said, he's technically fighting for virtuous things most of the time. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
very ends justify the
character-
means kind of stuff.
Yeah. The characters he is going after are characters who are themselves more objectively evil than he is.
Yeah.
And it's more so that his own evil is reflective of a general apathy and or a joy he gets out of being antagonistic. Right?
Yeah.
That was not the case with Carolyn. Carolyn was objectively the bad guy in the story, and the story it felt like the story just wasn't acknowledging that. And it was more so one of those things where I was a stupid kid writing the story and really not thinking about that kind of a thing. So because of that,
it is always hard to grow up past our edgelord things that we start when we're kids.
Yeah, it was very much early Viscerafest was very edgelordy. So for example, like, here's the thing. The enemy faction in Viscerafest, the United Scientific Conglomerate, is objectively a very morally gray enemy faction in the game.
Right.
With that said, what Dr. Mortiz and Chromium are doing throughout the course of this story is objectively righteous.
Oh, really?
Yes. And so Carolyn's apathy toward what they're doing and her assault on what they're doing is very problematic. And this was always the case. That's not like, oh, I decided after the fact that what they would be doing is the right thing. I always kind of knew in the back of my head, yeah, like, you're going to find out, like, oh, the game sort of pits him as a villain, but he's not actually a villain.
Yeah, very, when you're a kid, again, you do that, like, I'm going to make good the stupid guy, and evil the cool guy.
And so one of the changes we ended up making to the story was sort of the core theme or message of the general experience, which is very much that Carolyn is a character who lives for self-gratification in the midst of all things. Everything she does throughout the course of the game is, in essence, to feed herself, to feed her ego. And she gets joy out of the suffering of others. She gets joy at others' expense. in essence, her life is one of pursuing fulfillment at the cost of others. And this even ties into her relationship with Athens, where there's a conversation that happens later in the game, and this isn't really a spoiler.
Yeah.
But Athens, she's talking to Athens, and Athens asks her, why would you want to be with someone like me? And Carolyn responds, well, because I do what makes me happy, and you make me happy. Which, in the moment, it's sort of framed like something of a romantic
Yeah, it's kind of
thing.
sweet until you think about it some
But
more.
if you, until you actually think about it, you're like, that's incredibly selfish. And so kind of the core theme of the narrative and the story of Viscerafest is Carolyn ends up basically getting everything she wants in the short term, but in the long term, it ends up costing her everything.
Oh, man.
It is sort of how the general narrative is framed. And what we kind of do throughout the course of the narrative is it starts off, it's very bubbly, it's very lighthearted, it's very fun and arcadey, and then as the narrative progresses, it gets gradually more and more dark, and Carolyn is sort of moved to a place where she's sort of forced to reflect on some of what she's doing. And that happens throughout the course of the campaign. And so stuff like that was not something I originally planned to do, but in sort of reflecting on some aspects of my faith and whatnot, I wanted to shift the narrative in such a way where it's like the story actually has maybe something positive to say, as opposed to it just being you're playing as an evil monster.
Yeah. Well, that's what I like about a lot of the Deadpool comics and movies is that they sort of moved away from just, isn't it funny that he's mean and kills people, her, and like actually examine the character. So to take that mature of an approach with a game, that could, as you said, just be you blow up a lot of monsters and make funny wisecracks. That's really cool. It makes me more excited to play the rest of the game and see, how that all plays out.
But beyond that, I've been somewhat limited in my capacity to make any changes to the overall experience because it is a very, like a lot of the core, like obviously I can't completely uproot the entire experience of development. I've already done that a few times, and now that I have a publisher and a time frame that I'm working in, I can't really, and I don't know that I would really want to undertake doing something like that.
Yeah. That way lies
madness.
But
it's definitely something. Yeah, it's definitely something where were I to continue in game development, which I don't think I will, but if I were to, I would probably want to incorporate more aspects of my faith into my work,
Okay.
and kind of make something that I feel glorifies the Lord in the midst of sort of my creative space. But yeah, with that said, kind of circling back around to your initial question, which was kind of where I'm going to be going after this.
Yeah.
We're still planning to support Viscerafest for a good long while. We have so post-launch we have a bunch of stuff to fix. Obviously, like I said, there's all the stuff that we didn't finish in time for release that needs to get done. I'm planning on adding a big new game plus mode, which will basically be the entire campaign rebalanced with late game content.
Okay, so just the harder stuff right up front.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then with I'm trying to think. With my brain's
It's fine.
So in addition to the new game plus content, we want to add we'll be adding unlockable bonus levels. Those were originally also supposed to be in the launch version, and our publisher.
Yeah, life happens.
Yeah. So we'll be adding unlockable bonus levels. I might do something of a free mini campaign add-on to the main game. Just because kind of I mean, in general, I like to provide people with as much as we can. And to me, I'm just like, what would I want if I were to play a video game? Is very much the mentality I walk into whenever I make anything, as far as the game is concerned. Like, I'm like, if I wouldn't like something, I don't want to put it in my game.
Yeah, that honestly is a really good philosophy. You make art for yourself, and then if people like it, they show up.
Mm-hmm. And so, but I kind of bring some of that mentality into like the post-game stuff as well, where it's like, what kind of stuff would I enjoy if I had a game I really liked and I wanted more of it post-release? Like, what kind of content I would want. And so there's some stuff, like I said, maybe a post-launch mini campaign, we'll be doing something like that, that we'll be adding for free. And that's kind of what we were planning to do with as far as Viscerafest goes. If I continue in game development in any capacity, it will probably be purely as a hobby.
Yeah.
And that's primarily because I'd like to get married. I'd like to have kids. I would like to adopt kids. And I really just don't see this path in life facilitating that. If anything, because of the time commitments, because of the financial side of the equation, it feels like something that would actively get in the way of facilitating a family life.
It depends on where you work and who you work for. The company I was at, thankfully, was very supportive of living a life and actually, being able to exist outside of your contributions to the game. But not everybody's like that, and as we've seen, the video game industry is currently on fire.
Yeah. But because of that, I'm just like, I would rather establish something of a more stable career where I can facilitate having a family.
Yeah.
Because I want to be there to pour into my wife and kids. And as such, I just don't feel like, again, I might continue to do it as a hobby in some respects, because now that we have Viscerafest done, we have something of a foundation that we can build off of, which would make any potential future projects we do a lot easier. But beyond that, I don't see me doing too much in the gaming sphere. I think moving forward, I will probably be pursuing something more of a... just something a little bit more immediately practical as far as work goes.
Yeah.
Like prior, I've worked at... so when I was 18 through to 2020, I worked at a fiberglass parts manufacturer called FiberTech, for example. Yeah. And I was kind of I was basically their jack of all trades guy. I did... my brain's dying. I managed inventory. I managed inventory. I did parts assembly. I shuffled parts back and forth between our building using our semi truck. I did parts buffing. I did. I was basically their jack of all trades.
Yeah. It's nice to be a gopher sometimes.
Yeah. So with that, I would probably at least start going back to something like that. So yeah. That's
cool. So, what do you think? In the more than 10 years since since Viscerafest started to the release this week, what do you think is the biggest thing you've learned, the most important takeaway lesson that you've gotten from this whole experience?
Well, the big thing that I always tell anyone who asks me hey, I want to get into game dev, what do I do? Start small. Don't do what I did and make a really big game as your first experience. What I generally tell people is start with something that you think you can complete in a month, because it's going to take you way longer.
Yeah. Add 20% to all of your estimates.
Yeah. So basically what I've been telling people is I would recommend start with a rather simple game that's maybe a maze with some obstacles, where the goal is just to get to the end of the maze or something like that. And work on that entire game, finish it, and release it. And what that will do is it will give you a general overview of the entire experience of working on a game, such that when you start taking on bigger projects, you'll have a better idea of what the full scope of what you'll be undertaking is.
Yeah. It's interesting how little people, despite it being like one of the biggest things in the world, it's interesting how little people actually know about game dev in general, like, and how it all works.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a lot of that I think is due to one, the general, like, obviously the vast majority of people who enjoy something don't really actually engage with what's going on behind the scenes with that thing. Like,
Yeah.
I use shoes all the time. Do you really think I know how shoes are made? Like, you know, I hear
What,
there's
you mean
slave
you didn't
labor in
watch How It's
Africa or
Made
something.
at 2 a.m. on the Discovery Channel?
Yeah. Like, I hear there's slave labor going on with sneakers or something in Africa or whatever, but I've only ever heard that as a joke, so it might be true for all I know.
I think it is, actually, unfortunately.
Yeah. So it's stuff like that where it's like, I think the average Joe just doesn't care.
Yeah.
They just enjoy the experience of whatever it is it happens to be, or they enjoy the convenience of whatever you're providing. And as such, the thought process of how does this actually get accomplished never crosses their mind. And beyond that, you face the fact that it's like, well, there are so many different facets to working on a game, because you have the art side of the game, which itself has multiple facets. You have the programming side of the game, which itself has multiple facets. You have the design philosophy that goes behind games, and how you think about, hey, or how are we going to design each of these individual aspects. There's so much that goes into developing a game that it's like, even if I were to give you like a bullet pointed version of it, you would still have barely any idea of what goes in. And especially like different kinds of games, all themselves are going to have different aspects of the process that are maybe emphasized or different. Like, let's be real, a point and click adventure game probably made very different than how Viscerafest was made.
Yeah.
Or a real-time strategy game, or a 2D platformer. Like, each of these different types of games is going to involve an entirely different process. And then you have the fact that even within the same genre of games, people approach doing things very differently, you know? Like, I started working on this game when I was 12. I had no idea what I was doing. And so much of what I did in the prior version of my game ended up pouring into the next version of what I would do in my game, right? And so because of that, the development process of Viscerafest probably doesn't look like any other FPS game out there. And so I think it's a combination of all those different elements that leads to people being fairly negligent on what it actually takes to make a game, and how the end product actually gets into your hands.
Yeah. Well, and then you'd run into, and as I'm sure you have, the folks who think they know. So they'll say things, well, why can't you just do X? And X is actually like a 40-hour, 400-hour long rework of your entire game engine or something like that.
Exactly. I've had that conversation fairly recently. So you might have noticed Viscerafest doesn't have rotational sprites like the original Doom.
Yeah.
Where enemies will sort of like turn depending on what angle you're looking at them from. That's because all of Viscerafest sprites are hand drawn.
Oh wow.
So I literally draw it all by hand with a mouse.
You drew it all. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So because of that, Viscerafest sprites take quite a while to make. I think on average, like a full set of enemy sprites can take anywhere from 3 days to a week, depending on the complexity of the enemy in question, right? With that said, and that's just doing the front-facing sprites. It could take up to a week's worth of time, sometimes more. Right? So it's like, okay, now multiply that by every different angle you can see the enemy from. And I think I did the math, and I determined just doing the enemy sprites alone, because, by the way, Viscerafest has, like, 27 different enemy types, and that's not including bosses. that I think I did the math, and I determined it would take like over a year to do just the sprites for the game.
Good lord.
Yeah. And I had another guy telling me that like, oh, it would be so easy to just add rotational sprites to the game or whatever. And he was like, well, all these other games have done it. Why can't you do it? and every time I attempted to explain it to him, he thought all my explanations were bullcrap.
Yep. The next thing they do is they accuse you of lying. It's wild.
Yeah. And he said, oh, well, you know, this, it's actually super funny. So he was telling me, oh, you know, like, Cultic has, you know, 3D rotational sprites. Why don't you just do that? Like what he did for that game or whatever. And I recently actually had the chance to work with Jason, who's the lead developer on Cultic. And he was looking at one of the enemy sprites and he was like, my God, that looks like so much work. And, and so I told him, oh, this is... I showed him, after he said that, I showed him one of the bigger enemy sprites that took the longest to make. And he was like, oh no, why did you do this?
And you're like, I was 12, man.
Why did you, you've made your life so much harder. And so I was like, well, there you go.
There you go. Yeah, can you record that actually so I can send it to people when they ask this question?
Yeah. Yeah, so the story with Jason actually ties into another thing that happened recently.
Yeah.
So our lead sound designer is a guy by the name of Michael Markey. He composed the music for Viscerafest's first chapter.
Okay.
As well, but he did most of the audio in the game. So all the sounds you're listening to in the game right now, he did all that. Now, Markey ended up having to step down from the project during Chapter 2's development. But we were able to bring him back on during toward the end of Chapter 3's development. In the midst of that, though, there were, left and right, Markey faced a ton of issues in his day-to-day life. For example, he lives in California. So, you know, California was on fire pretty recently.
Yeah, we sure were.
So, you know, that hurt him a little bit. He ended up finding out that he had torn a ligament in his wrist. So that slowed him down. It was basically, he found out, he and his fiance bought this place where they were going to move in together.
Yeah.
And he ended up finding out that there was a professional squatter living there.
Oh.
And he spent like 6 months. He spent like 6 months trying to get the guy out of that place.
That's wild.
So
you can end up buying a place without knowing that already.
Yeah. So all that happened. And then, I'm trying to think. And so basically, none of this, we brought him on to do more sound, but none of the sound was actually getting done.
Yeah.
So it was like a month out before release. And we had over 150 sounds that we needed to get in the game that we hadn't even started working on any of it yet. And we had really no idea if it was even going to be possible for Markey to get much of anything done, because he still wasn't getting any work done. And so I basically ended up putting out a video saying, hey, game sound is not going to be done in time for release. And in the wake of that, I had a bunch of people reach out to me to help me finish the sound on the game.
That's really cool.
And Jason, the lead developer of Cultic, was one of those people. And over the course of like the following 2 weeks, almost all the sound was done. It was getting done so quickly, I was not having time to implement it all. Yeah, so there were like 5 people who ended up helping us and contributing to the sound side of the game.
That's
toward
awesome.
The end of development. Yeah. And yeah, I probably had somewhere I was going with that, but I can't remember.
Well, it's cool how, like, you know, you were talking earlier about how you felt a little disappointed, you know, that the game didn't have a lot of hype behind it. But then you just described, you know, a month before launch, you put out a call and like five or six different people put in their time to make sure the game got finished because they were excited to play it. So it might not be quite as unhyped as you think.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say. I can certainly say at least the buzz within the public spheres I occupy doesn't seem particularly loud. But yeah, I mean, like the game just came out. Like things can change. The game can build up steam. I'm sure part of it is just like a lot of people thought the game was probably dead.
Yeah, it's always a
because
surprise when something comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so people are going to be kind of slow rolling in. But yeah, it's hard to say. A part of it's just that a lot of the people who did reach out to help me are people I'm relatively close friends with.
Sure.
So like Jason is somebody who I've talked with and chatted with before because I love his game, and I kind of rub elbows with him. And a lot of the people who ended up reaching out to help us, they are people who like game dev friends of mine, basically. Sure. I wasn't expecting them to reach out to help me, but they're people I for the most part knew and talked to on a fairly frequent basis.
So I'm gonna tell you something that is advice that is really hard to take because I struggle with it myself. But even though you were friends with those people beforehand, that doesn't mean they're helping you out of obligation or because they feel sorry for you.
No.
It means they're helping you because they want to see the thing happen.
No, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
And I'm not downplaying what they did, especially not Jason. Like Jason got so much legwork done on the game, it's insane. I would be in the middle of working a shift at Lowe's because that's where I work part-time currently, and Jason would be like, oh yeah, here's like 8 sounds, and then I would get home, I would start implementing those sounds, and he'd be like, oh yeah, here's 10 more sounds.
That's really cool.
So yeah, like, I mean, yeah, like I really appreciate everybody who reached out and helped me. It was one of the most depressing things because to give you an idea of how bad it was, we didn't have the sound for the last 3 cutscenes of the game.
Oh my god.
Now Marky had to do all of the story content. Like it was basically required that he do it, mostly for consistency's sake.
Yeah.
As well as from the standpoint of there were some people who did voice acting for the game that only really had connections of the game through him. And as such, there was like some story dialogue that we just didn't have recorded yet that we needed him to work with those people to get.
Yeah, that makes sense. That happens a lot.
Yeah. And so yeah, like the final cutscene sound was done like 5 days before release. Yeah, so like it was a bit of a blitz to get everything ready. So yeah, like we ended up, we only sent review copies out like 4 days before the game came out. Which I'm sure itself has not, has meant that the release day was a little bit quieter than it might have otherwise been. Because, people are like, oh, I only got the review builds, like, game's coming out in like 2 days. Yeah.
That's kind of why when I got the review build, I was like, I'm just gonna stream it on Tuesday and see what happens from there. I'm really glad you popped into chat and joined us, though. This has been really fun chatting with you. So I had a question, and then I got surprised by one of your traps. There's a lot of traps in this game. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna pick up this gun. Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Is that part of like the retro shooter charm? I have a good friend who's in chat named Kiri, who is really big into the Doom scene. But is that like part of the goal, like sort of the old school game design of like, haha, I tricked you. Now you die.
I guess. It's sort of important to keep in mind that when I'm designing them, they never really feel like traps to me because I know they're there.
That's fair.
The thing for me, whenever I'm designing combat encounters, is you always have to keep in mind that players are going to, and this just generally runs through a lot of the design philosophy I have for my game, is that players are always going to attempt to take the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
And so what you effectively have to design and optimize your game around is attempting to make the path of least resistance the path of playing the game the way you want people to approach it, right?
Yeah.
Viscerafest is very much a game about resource management. Viscerafest is very much a game about playing aggressively. Viscerafest is very much a game about movement. And with a lot of that, some of those systems are hard to engage in. Like things like tight ammo and the overall game's overall difficulty.
Yeah.
And a lot of what we do to try to push you to be more aggressive, like for example, there's a mechanic where when you jib an enemy and it drops health, the health disappears in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, I
and
noticed
that's to
that.
punish you. Yeah, that's to punish you for not playing aggressively and being there when the health is there. That's a means to make sure that it's like, hey, when you get this health, you have to be like in the middle of the action to get it. Like you can't just like take an enemy out from a distance, it drops health, and I can kind of mosey my way over there eventually. It's a way to make sure that if you're going to heal, you have to like get in there and put yourself at risk to potential
throwing fists around to get it done.
Yeah, and some systems like that will turn players away to a certain extent. But with that, in general, the goal is to make sure that it's like if you want to succeed at the game, you have to engage with the game on its terms. And having encounters kind of like this right here, where we throw you into a middle of a fight, is effectively us. So like actually a better example I think would be you have the bridge room right before the room you're in right now.
Yeah,
right?
that one took me forever to get through.
Yeah. So you flip a switch and then a bunch of doors open and enemies funnel into the room. That's a way in which we basically make sure that the combat encounter actually takes place in the room, rather than potentially allowing the player to do something like this right here, where you're kind of hanging back between the door and being very evasive. It's a way to force the player to be aggressive within the space that we've created, so that.
Hey, let me make sure we're still streaming.
I think it's back on my end.
Okay.
I try and find ways that push them into the fight rather than allowing them to kind of evade it.
Yeah, it actually worked. You were talking a few seconds ago about how I was hiding in the doorway and sort of plinking at people, so now do I flip this? Yeah. I couldn't, like, I was going to run out of health and die. I had to run into the room and start throwing punches as quick as I could in order to get out of there. That was a really cool level design. I like how it was like, your elevator's broken. Find a way to get out.
Yeah, so this is actually a really fun example of how we redesigned a level from the original early access version.
Yeah.
So the level opens and you have that cracked wall right there, right? In the original early access version, you started the level and the elevator was already broken, and Carolyn just said the line right out of the get-go. Whereas now it's like you're on the elevator riding it down and then it explodes and you actually get to see it happen. So that's a fairly significant change from the original version of it, where a lot of what was implied in the older versions of the levels is actually shown now, and you have a lot more little scripted moments like that.
How hard is it to work moments like that in?
Hey, no reason to be shy.
That moment is pretty easy overall because it just relies on a lot of systems and mechanics we already had in place. It takes a little bit to set up, and the biggest issue I would say with it, as far as implementation goes, is sequences like that can always mess around with our save system.
Oh, yeah.
Save in general, save mechanics are a nightmare because they are the bug creator, basically. It's like everything can be working fine, and then if you save and load that save, then all bets are off. Anything could break.
That is so funny.
It's locked.
Because a part of the issue you face with save mechanics, especially quick save mechanics, is that you have to save quickly. And so a lot of making the save mechanics function properly is all about minimizing what data actually needs to be saved, right?
Right.
And that creates a lot of problems. Because if you save too much information, then it takes forever for you to save and or to load. And if you save too little information, then something breaks.
Yep.
And then in addition with that, you also have the fact of it's like, in the middle of a scripted sequence, what information needs to be saved in order for the sequence to function properly. And that, the barometer for that shifts depending on the sequence, right? So a sequence like that in C1L2, where the elevator lowers, the bulb explodes open, it's fairly simple. But what about sequences that have like characters in the middle of dialogue with animations going
Oh
on,
yeah,
right?
and if you
What
save
about-
right at that point.
Yeah, or like so for example, actually, a bug we found like with the build we sent out to reviewers, which was a little bit panic-inducing. The final boss of Chapter 3 has a little dialogue sequence that leads into it, right?
Right.
And then you have the boss does his intro, and then there are a couple of events that occur during his intro, and then you have the actual fight itself. What happened is there's an autosave in that fight, right after the boss is introduced, right?
Uh-huh.
So you loaded the autosave, and the story sequence that introduced the boss would start from the beginning. The boss would already be in the middle of the arena doing his thing.
Oh.
Or he would be in the middle. He would be in the middle of playing his intro animation, and several things that were supposed to occur during that intro animation had already occurred, right? So it was like several layers of things being broken.
It is so funny the random shit that breaks games. Like it's all a collection of carefully held together code, that was built with duct tape and hope.
Yeah. Well, and that reminds me. Probably the funniest save issue we had was we were working on the game. Everything worked fine on our end. We sent a build out to our publisher, and the moment they loaded a save in the game, all of the doors in the level would teleport to the center point of the map. And so we were like, what? Because we tried to hell and back again to replicate this bug, and it just was not happening. We were doing everything we could, and we could just not get this bug to happen. But it happened consistently every single time for our publisher, and so we were like, what the heck is different? And so we had like all of our beta testers like at the game trying to figure out like, we can't replicate this bug, we can't replicate this bug. And then we found one guy on Linux who was able to replicate this bug.
Oh my
so we
God.
pulled them into a chat. We pulled them into a chat room for like 3 hours, and we're like, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's different? What's different about your computer that's causing this bug? And then we found out he had a French keyboard.
What?
And we found out that apparently, because he had a French keyboard, what was happening is all of the coordinates for the doors that had a decimal point in them were having those decimal points removed. So instead of the coordinates being, like this point on the map or whatever, it's some randomly obscure, absurdly high number that ends up zeroing out and sending them all to the center point of the map every time you loaded a save.
That's wild.
Yeah. And so yeah, like yeah. I mean, I don't even know what to say after that.
Yeah, I love bugs like that. So they're always, when I used to do interview developers for my job, people would always ask,
Well, I didn't love it because I think we ended up.
Oh yeah, no, that sucks now.
It like delayed us for like.
No reason
Yeah.
to be shy.
It's funny looking back, but it delayed us for like 2 weeks because we were trying to figure out what the heck was going on with this. Because it's like we had a build ready to go, we had a patch ready to upload, and for 2 weeks we couldn't do it because we kept finding our publisher could not make any progress in the game because anytime they saved and loaded the save, it broke the game.
Oh my God, that's so crazy. Yeah, I was gonna say, it's always the weirdest thing. We had a bug once on the game that I worked on that was if you put on the wrong facial hair, I don't know if I can do this. Your character turned invisible and disappeared. Because of the beard you were wearing, which was hilarious because it was the Mirror Universe goatee, so it just led to conspiracy theories.
Oh dear.
All right. Well, let's see. I have died nearly 50 times so far in a couple of hours of talking. So excellent work. Good job. This game is excellent.
I will say you can change the difficulty mid game.
Okay.
And there are also assist options
Okay.
that you can use to kind of bring things down if it's still too much for you.
Got it. No, it's not too much to me. I'm good at video games.
But yeah, yeah. So we do in general, like a lot of people meme on how hard the game is.
Yeah.
But for me, like the thing for me is the game's not difficult. It's very much a case of it's designed to be played a certain way, and a lot of people just don't approach the game playing it that way.
Yeah.
And when they do, they don't tend to do it very well. And so for me, it's difficult because I don't want to shift away from a lot of our core design pillars. But with that, at the same time, I also don't want people to struggle through my game. I do want people to enjoy themselves and have fun. And so I do try to facilitate people the game being easy enough that anybody can approach playing it.
What I was going to say is, it is difficult, but it didn't feel like, frustrating, banging my head against the wall difficult. It felt like a puzzle to approach, which are my favorite kind of FPS games. Like, it felt like every time I died, I was like, okay, that enemy is going to spawn there, so I have to stand here and shoot this and then bounce around to here. And so I was doing it over and over, but I wasn't running out of fun. So I think that's, a really great thing for a game like this. Yeah. All right. Well, if folks want to find out more about you and the work that you're doing, where should they go for that?
I mean, by far the best place you'll be able to get at us is our Discord server. I mean, I probably have it on my Twitter, as well as linked in a lot of my YouTube stuff. I don't really know how I could say, oh, it's the Viscerafest Discord server.
If it's on,
I guess.
If you tell us the name of your YouTube channel, people can at least Google that and then find the link to the Discord.
Yeah, so the YouTube channel is Acid Man Games. But yeah, so that would probably be if you want to hang out with us. I'm in voice chat fairly often, and I'm almost always on our server, checking it fairly frequently. So if somebody says something, I've probably seen it. Yeah, so if you wanted to chat with me about the game, if you wanted to learn more, or if, I try to be in as many places as I can be, but the Discord server is absolutely the best place to get in contact with me.
Neat. All right, well, folks, if you want to purchase a copy of Viscerafest, link just popped up in the chat. That is my affiliate link. You can purchase Viscerafest and support the stream at the same time. And, it's a lot of fun, as you guys have seen in the last couple hours, so go do that. We are going to take our League of Swords break. League of Swords is my pro wrestling with sword fights TV show that I make. So we're going to throw up an episode of that, and then we'll come back for more Viscerafest in a few minutes. But thanks so much for joining us. I really appreciate having you on.
It's no problem.
Yeah. Great serendipity that you popped up in chat. You too. All right, folks. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Previously on The League of Swords.
Boy, Angel Boy. Good night. Got the best chance of taking all that thing. For now, but thank you. Right. No one says no to Mad Jack McCaslin. We'll settle this tonight, you and I.
You want allies? I can be your greatest friend in the world. Excellent. Now stop the monk from reviving him.
I wonder if you might consider a short-term contract for some extra work.
We both have matches tonight. This won't get in the way of them?
You don't think it won't, Bill. Let's talk some more.
Take Vibralia's offer. Join us. And everything will be fine.
Jack is scared of nothing.
Enjoy your last hours breathing on this earth. Because I am the final boss. And the Age of Outcasts is coming.
Hello and welcome to the League of Swords! My name is Nungwaya and I'm with...
Ron, the real deal, Steve!
That is right. And now it's time for our main event!
What, am I taking the stage?
If you like, I'm sure they love another fighter.
No, they wouldn't.
What a sorry sight. I believed myself to be recruiting one of the greatest warriors in the universe. You were completely undefeated. And all I ask of you is one simple request. Win. Have you done that? No, you're not. Not only did you fail to kill the Saint of Swords, Vengeance, but you lost to what? An actual child? All is not lost, darling. I know losing so much must be taxing for you. Don't worry. I have a plan that not even you can squander. But don't forget who holds the keys to your kingdom, little sprite.
No one owns me.
I do. And if you want some freedom around here, wins. I'm starting the magic tonight. You should know by now, Vengeance. No one turns their back on me and lives.
Millions of years ago, the monks of the Way saved the universe. They did it by creating the greatest tournament of strength and steel the world has ever known. Welcome to the League of Swords.
Gotta dig deep, gotta feel the desire. Take a look inside and find what fuels the fire. To a front to live or do I live to fight? I wrestle with the beast inside me every night. It's the League of Swords, a battle for the crown evermore. It's the League of Swords, show us what you stand for. It's the League of Swords, now it's time to go to war. It's the League of Swords, better fight for your life.
Choose your fighter. Vengeance.
That Jack is a fool. He could have taken Thyra Rayleigh's offer. He could be safe now. But instead, tonight, I will bury him.
Mad Jack the Castle.
I'm sure some would be afraid of Vengeance, but seeing as he's a bit of an 80s has-been, I'm not quite so intimidated by the guy. Oh, look at that. You know, I feel like we're gonna go in there, he's gonna say his little gravelly voice, he's trying to sound all intimidating, and I'll probably finish him off between 2 or 3 moves.
Battle on the edge of the ring.
Alright, friends, it's time for our main event.
I cannot wait.
I'm really excited for this one. I've been waiting for a very long time to see these two knocked out.
From the last level and your last corner, the final boss, Vengeance!
Vengeance looks like he is ready to hand out those game overs.
He reminds me a lot of me back when I was wrestling.
Oh, yeah?
From the darkness of his own past, carrying the weight of 2 worlds, Mad Jack McAfee!
2 words.
Who's ready to see me cut this bigot down?
That is a lot of responsibility to have to carry 2 words.
I am unbeatable. How about you lost all your fights already? Hold still!
They're not wasting any time.
This is a bit pathetic, wouldn't you say?
I'm not sure if Jack is taking this seriously.
His defenses are up. He could have taken his head off with that one.
You mind, can we do this later? Your moves are putting me to sleep.
Ooh, the taunts.
How about this?
Vengeance just punched him.
That's the type of fight it's gonna be. It is! Come on, Jack. What do you got in here?
Oh!
I mean, think about...
Oh, he's got him against the wall.
See?
You're not worth everything I have.
I mean... Not strong enough to kick him into a community theater, but, you know, still good.
Oh.
Oh, that should have taken him through the wall.
Pushing, kneeing against the wall, choking. He is a bully. What is this?
He's doing everything he's supposed to win.
I am the final boss. I am unbeatable. The Saint of Swords was a fluke. Kid Bandit was a fluke. I cannot be stopped. Why? No one came here to hear your monologue.
Ooh, never take your eyes off of your opponent. That is rule number 1. What is going on?
I do like that little shriek at the end.
Is that Johnny?
A fearsome battle.
Is that Johnny Lamar in the Astral Mask? Is this what the head monk was talking about when she was mentioning a job?
Also, they've all been in fights already. Like, they've got to be exhausted.
Oh, Johnny with a stab to the stomach.
This is what happens when you turn down Thyra Lady. Sorry, brothers, but I'm not quite ready to die yet.
Wait, I hear music.
Oh my god.
Could that be? It is! It is the Saint of Swords!
It's the Saint! Oh my god, why is he
Oh
here?
my god, to help Mad Jack! Oh, they are fighting in great tandem. Look at this. Look at that. Taking out your opponent's opponent.
My goodness, they fight like they're brothers.
It could be.
I highly doubt that.
What do you think you're doing? Huh? That offer's off the table. I don't need you then, and I don't need you now.
Why would you turn down such great assistance? Why would you turn down someone who'd be a great partner to you? Sometimes actions speak louder than words. Personally, I wouldn't have resurrected them. Like, they cheated. They showed up in a match they weren't supposed to be in.
Okay, first off, there's no such thing as cheating in a sword fight.
What were you two doing? She paid you to do more than that. Not enough. Knife, man. Jeez.
Oh, wait, she paid them?
Paid them.
When do we get paid?
Says the only new male member of the group, I think I deserve some male privilege as well. It's kind of interesting you're talking about lying. It seems a little bit deficient. What? Ah!
Hey everybody, welcome back. Sorry about that brief mouth typo, as people said. Good to see you all. Good to be back. I hope you all enjoyed that. That was a fun impromptu interview. It's funny because I reached out to the publisher to see if I could interview anybody from the team, and then I got to do it anyway without having having to talk to them. So this is a fun game. I'm enjoying it. It was interesting to hear the developer talk about how it had basically consumed his life, and now he was going to go off and join the Greek Orthodox, or not the Greek Orthodox Church, the Eastern Orthodox Church. That's not exactly what I expected. I should switch the title of this from now on. We're not doing an interview anymore. Okay, I really want to make this jump. Ah! Gosh darn it! Every time. This game drove me to seek out salvation. Yeah, exactly.
Please don't.
Less about the game in particular, and more about the process of game development drove him to seek salvation.
I've got 2 guns. That should be enough for all of you.
The voice actress for this is delightfully unhinged. That is one reason why I really want to, if I ever decide to design a game, I want to learn as much as I can about game development before I do it, because you can definitely get trapped in a lot of the issues he was having. Oh no. Oh my god, I did it! I did it! I did it! Now I have to get back. Woohoo! Good job, me. Everyone high-five me. Hey, Rachel, you've told me 3 or 4 times that you're using the Google TV version. I know. Invisible teleporting jerks. I was really scared when I first saw these guys while I was in the middle of the interview, but okay. They can explode? Oh. Oh, no! So many raptures. So little time. Hi! I don't know, Nihilist. Do you think Rachel is using the Twitch beta on Google TV? I tease because I love Rachel.
Hey, no reason to be shy. I don't bite, usually.
The twin pulse blasters look kind of like a hairdryer when you pick them up off the ground. All right, I have a save thing now. I should use the save thing so that I don't have to do all of this again. But I don't want to use the save thing until I have oh God, that was almost bad. I don't want until I get through that first room of invisible assassin ladies. So I think since there's probably some kind of achievement at the end of the game for not killing those guys, based on everything he said. No! Stop deporting people to El Salvador. Gotcha. There's a part of my brain that's like, don't use the save beacon yet. Wait until you progress a little further. And that part of my brain is an idiot. Using that save beacon.
Found them all.
Ah, that was the bug he was talking about. Oh, God. I went backwards instead of progressing. Am I supposed to climb on these? I was probably supposed to climb on these, right? But first... Ow! 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 Another save beacon? How generous! I'm terrified now. Oh, I'm gonna die. I'm not gonna let that happen. I have saved! With extremely low health and in front of a difficult room with a lot of cover. I don't think it's actually that frustrating, Nihilus. Oh, hey, welcome back. Welcome back, Osric. Good to still have you around. But I don't think this game is that frustrating, actually. Like, you guys have seen me get frustrated on this stream before. It usually involves a lot of screaming. Did I just get hit by a truck? I was like, what's that horn sound? But yeah, it's, I should probably listen to the dialogue. Yeah, but like I said, it's more like a puzzle. Oh god, I'm supposed to do this, aren't I? Okay. Wait, but where would that take me? Oh, I see.
Why?
Because I must. Ah, dang. I came over here for nothing. Nothing, I say. Gonna get... Yep. I love random truck as a thing. I should pay attention more. I was looking at chat, and I was crushed into the ceiling. Oh! I'm not where I think I am. That's the problem. I'm already past the part where I had to take this up as an elevator. We're outside of this room. All right. Gotcha! Where'd the other guy go? Did I already kill him? That's great news. I love it when I've already killed the person I thought I had to fight. Osric, were you here for my incredible conquering of your jumping puzzle? Because I feel like I didn't get enough congratulations from chat on how amazing I am.
Intruder, I'll be frank in saying I don't know why you're here, but the consequences of us failing are beyond your ability to comprehend.
Yeah, that's real cute, Nulldog, but save it for someone who actually cares.
Just leave, and we'll forget this ever happened.
Nah.
Fine. Have it your way.
All right, we're to 60 deaths, folks. What do you think? You think we can make the big 100 before the end of this? Whoops. Wait, this way. Yeah, we definitely can get there. No! I will not make the same mistake a third time. Cool, got the lady. You're supplied with iced coffee and cookies. I don't like coffee, and I feel like icing it would make it worse.
I'll be frank in saying I don't know why you're here, but the consequences of us failing are beyond your ability to comprehend.
Okay. I want to see what's at the end of this hallway, but...
Save it for someone who actually cares.
Just leave, and we'll forget this ever happened.
Nah.
Oh, I'm glad I did that. Save beacon. Gonna let it go by again. Meow. Who are we disavowing now?
What's wrong with you?
I got the green key. And another save token. I've got 2 save tokens now. I am truly invincible, but, you know, we're not going to test that theory. I almost just jumped across casually. Okay. So I came here, and I got the green key and 2 save beacons.
Anybody in there?
No. I almost just jumped right into that thing. Okay, there is a green... There was a green door somewhere. Is there falling damage in this game? Guess not. All right, these guys. I'm gonna leave. No! Ah! Oh, you fool! You damned fool! I'm a rogue and a knave because I don't like coffee. It smells gross, therefore I can only assume it tastes gross. The fact that everybody else is saying this game looks like it might... Well, not everybody else. That Nihilus is saying this game looks like it might be frustrating. And I'm sitting here over here enjoying throwing myself to my death over and over. It makes me wonder if I would like Dark Souls after all.
Intruder, I'll be frank in saying I don't know why you're here, but the consequences of us failing are beyond your ability ability to comprehend.
Well, you shouldn't have stolen my boyfriend then.
That's real cute and all, Doc, but save it for someone who actually cares.
Oh, no, wait. They didn't kidnap my boyfriend. I'm just here to kill them. I have no moral justification. I forgot.
Have it your way.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not going to kill this guy. Well, I need the health. I know. I'm sorry, bud. Maybe I should use one of these save beacons now that I have two, but... I just remember my mom telling me how she also hated coffee, and so she made herself sit down and drink it because everybody else was doing it. And, like, that's a wild thing to have to do. Okay. I have a green key. I can open a green door. There are no green doors. There's almost definitely some kind of secret up there. Because why would you put all these elevators here? But, you know what I'm not doing? That. Alright. I don't know if sensible is a thing you can say about most of my family. Gotcha. Still can't get up there, but I'm sure we'll find a way once we find a green door. Okay, once I finish this fight, I'll save. Oh, no! No, no, no! Okay, we've got some shotgun shells. Where are you? Alright. Now's a good time. We have saved. Oh, that's right. There is a green door in here. I remember now. No! Well, I just saved. And we have no ammo left on any of our guns. Thank you for that. Oh no. Okay, I've got... Ah! Almost made it. Got him. Okay. Now who's shooting at me? Ah, 2 health. Yep, there it goes. Alright. I wish I had some more ammo. Yeah, I don't need to fight those guys. No! And there it goes. The ammo tariffs were too high. Have I tried a diplomatic solution? You know, I probably should. But it's not what my character would do, so... Maybe I should just save the next time I get through this hallway. No. I won't do it. Maybe I'll just go. Apparently, I decided to throw my face into some bullets as a viable strategy. I just have so little health at this exact point. Figure out some other way to approach this. What I'm doing is not working. Better. No! I know part of the problem is that I'm not in control while I'm bunny hopping the way I should be. Wow! Okay. You know what? I'm gonna save here. What?! Oh no! No! Okay, I'm gonna stand right here for a second until I figure this out. Nope. Someday I'll figure out aiming and moving. Nope, that's not a ladder. I didn't think it was. And that's broke. Okay. So, not that way then. What? Oh. Whoa! Oh. Normally, I try and keep up some witty banter with chat, but y'all have gone quiet, and so all we're hearing is my death noises over and over. Ah! Okay, so don't land in the acid, because it'll really ruin your entire life. I have another one, do I? No. No! Come on! Oh. Ow! Okay. Okay. We got this. What happens when I hit 100 deaths? I'm guessing I get an achievement. Yeah, can't do anything in here. Oh, God. That did not give me any health back. That is distressing. Give me that! Oh, oh no! Oh no, I had it! I had the same beacon in my hand. Hooray! Hugs of death. At least they stop moving when they're about to fill you full of whatever plasma stuff they do. Hmm. Osric, this probably looks like a child playing to you, I have to imagine.
Got him.
We sure did. Oh, right. I forgot about my uppercut shit. Ugh. Not that it matters. Nope. I just want to try it. I don't know. It feels like it'd be... Okay. Have I tried collapsing into a fetal position and weeping loudly? Not yet. If I haven't tried that about my job hunt, I won't be trying it about this. I'm worried there's something in this room that's helpful, but I don't know how I'd even get up there.
On your feet.
I hear them. I don't see them. And that is okay by me. I saw them! It might be worth noting the game is going to get a lot harder from here. Alright, well I have to go in a few minutes anyway to get ready for, meeting my parents for dinner, but... Are you kidding me? Yeah, I deserved that one. Missed with a sword fighting... Oh, or missed with a sword fighting. I was reading chat. Sorry. Missed with a shotgun from, like, point-blank range. Lord in heaven. Ugh. Snipers! Alright. Let's go for the full 100 before I go. Why are there two of them over there now? Ah, missed the hearts. I cannot aim while bunny hopping. Alright. 7 more.
Found them all.
Found them all. Except I didn't. Ah! Yep. As soon as I missed for that first shot. Alright, we got this. Why are there two of them again?
That's the last of them.
That is not the last of them, girl. Hey, thank you very much for the follow, ML Kitty. I wonder who that could be. Oh my god. That's another line it's not supposed to play. Yeah, I figured. It worked perfectly at that exact point, because it was when I'd killed the last enemy in the room. But...
Hallelujah.
Okay, okay. Don't worry about them. Ignore them. Up the elevator. No! Stop shooting so good! Did I just kill myself? I think I just killed myself. What's the difference between the red hearts and the purple hearts? Osric? Do you pronounce? Do you like prefer or Osric? Wow, first time chat. First time. Oh, did we do it? 100 deaths! Celebrate that we suck. Come on. Bo, 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 bo. I was just going to say, I can't believe it's taken 6 months of streaming for my wife to post in the chat for the very first time. All right. What is that second one, Hunter? Oh, it's a guy dodging stuff. Yeah. Legendary! All right. We are going to call it on... Oh, thank you very much for the subscription. Oh, Fragrance, thank you very much. Appreciate you. You've given 111 gift subs, bro. That's incredible. All right. We are going to take off from here, I think. 100 deaths is a good place to cut us off. But thank you all so much for tuning in today. Thank you so much for Osric for the awesome interview. Really appreciated you taking the time to sit and chat with us about your game. And we will see you guys. We won't see you tomorrow because I might be doing. I will most likely be doing a reading in my daughter's library. But I will see you on Thursday. Thursday will be City of Heroes. That's just because you're late, babe. Maybe you should have gotten in earlier. But yes, the link that just popped up in chat. If you want to purchase Viscerafest, the game we just played all day today. If you want to support this awesome. Sorry, brain shutting down. If you want to support Osric and all the cool work they did in the 10 years on this game, go ahead and click that link right there. And you can purchase the game and you'll be supporting the stream through my affiliate link. So yeah, I'm going to let you all know that I have some social media for you to follow me on. I'm Vengeance God on Blue Sky, and I'm Broken Infinity Films on Instagram. We have a Discord for this here community. Would love for you guys to come in and hang out and join, chat about the stuff that we talked about today. I am the host of 3 podcasts on the Ace of Geeks podcast network. They are all great. You should check them all out. And the League of Swords, which you saw during our League of Swords break earlier, has got our newest show coming up soon on May 4th. And we are going to be doing... actually, it's funny. I think about it. We did a show on May 4th last year, so that's 2 in a row. But anyway, if you like sword fighting, if you like the storytelling of pro wrestling, these are all great reasons to check out the League of Swords. We have a merch channel. You can get yourself some awesome t-shirts designed by Duncan Idaho. And if you want to buy me stuff, you don't have to, but there's a wish list right here. All right, folks. It has been an honor and a pleasure. I really enjoyed hanging out with y'all today, and I really enjoyed Viscerafest. And I will see you on Thursday. Not tomorrow. On Thursday. All right. Let's see who we're raiding. Almost forgot to do that. Let's see. I wonder if there's any other Viscerafest streamers today. Nope, it's me. Okay. Then, let's raid Dark Mom. It's been a while. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And I will see you all on Thursday. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.